And good evening, everybody. I think there's been a slight delay of a couple of minutes, but we are live now. And we're here to discuss um, the options, all right? The options that you have for private design schools in 2021, all right? Um, so, um, I just need to get some feedback from everybody. Can you all hear me? Can you all see me? Just type in yes if you can. All right. So I'm assuming you can hear and see me. Okay, fantastic. I'm getting some responses. Right. So today's discussion is on the private design schools, design and fashion schools to consider in 2021. So now, what I'm going to be talking is about. Okay, we're going to start off with the appreciation of the 2020 toppers, as well as the objective and purpose of this webinar, and then we're going to go to the other topics which we will discuss quickly. All right. So just to start off, we've got phenomenal results. In 2020, starting with rank 5 and going upwards. And we've had tremendous number of students who've got into NIDs and IITs. Um, and that's really amazing. And even when it comes to our postgraduate programs, I think DQ Labs has got the first rank in 4 disciplines, which is the highest for any of the coaching centers in India. This is a testimonial to the work that we do, and it's reflected in all our results, including NIFT and uh, JEE Paper 2 as well as NATA. All right. So a little bit we'd like to talk about ourselves before getting into the details. Now, the objective and purpose of this webinar. The idea is to help parents and students, number one, create their own list of private design schools. All right. There are tons of private design schools out there. So which is the school that's right for you? Now, there are a lot of maybe ranking systems or ranking lists that you see all over the place, and many of them are not reliable. In fact, most of them are not reliable, not for anything else, but because it's tough to segregate and actually rank the design schools in India. All right, it's very complex, and I'll get into the details a little later. So, what we'd like to do is enable you to make your own list of design schools. For example, if I say this number one school is in Delhi, and you don't want to go to Delhi, right? Um, so these are the issues that you face. So that's not a number one school for you. For you, the number one school would be probably something which is within your affordable limit, within your aspirational limits as well. All right. Um, Now, the other thing is to make more informed decisions, which is we would like you to discuss with your parents, discuss um, with you, sit together with your parents, really understand what each design school has to offer, make a very, very thought provoked and informed decision with whatever decision you take. So that is very critical. All right. However, now, there are disclaimers. All right. Number one, all design and fashion schools are not covered. All right. Number two, this is not a rank list. It is not an official list. I'm going to give you my opinions, but these are my personal opinions. It is not. It does not reflect probably an actual realistic scenario. But what I need you to do is understand that I have visited a lot of design schools. By virtue of that, I have understood significantly what various schools have to offer. All right. Now, because of that, I'm sharing my personal experiences with you. Now, what I need you to do is take my experience, experience, understand my perspective, and see if it helps you make your decision. If it does help you, well and good. If it does not help you, please feel free to reject my opinions. All right. I'm perfectly okay with that. You can still come and say, Dion, I have not applied for this school. You're saying it's a good one. I have not applied for it. I am perfectly fine with that. All right. I want you to be happy. Uh, the third thing is make your own inquiries and come to your own conclusions for every design school that you apply to. All right. Make sure that you come to this understanding before you apply. All right. Once you apply, the process takes a different turn, and it's very important that you focus in the right direction. Um, the the next thing is, information keeps getting updated every day. All right, every day things change, things are very dynamic, so use your discretion. If you want official information, please go to the official websites, but I will also show you um, some different perspectives. All right, so I'm just going to look into this um, to see if any questions are coming in. Y'all can keep asking questions. Once in a way, I'll come to that. Now, the question is, why should you consider private design schools? All right. Now, the fact is, um, we have approximately, we have a lot of people applying to design schools, but not too many seats available. All right. So your chances of getting in is probably around the 4-5% range. Um, statistically speaking, you're in the 4-5% range, but it also depends on the reservation categories that you come into. All right. Now, while these numbers appear to be on the larger side, there are a lot of reservation categories that are there. All right. And for whatever reason, however, um, if you do come under general merit, remember that these are not the general merit seats, these are the overall seats that are available to you. All right. So you need to take this down by about 50%, around 50%, to really, um, in fact, a little between 40 to 50% is the range. All right. Generally, 40 to 60% is what I stand corrected. um, that's the range of seats that you can consider for available for general merit. All right. Now, that poses a problem. So, for example, if there are 425 seats at an NID at a UG level, there are approximately 200 seats at a available for general merit. So if you do come under general merit, if you do not have reservations going in your favor, then please note you have about 200 to 225 seats available to you. All right. And there are 15,000 applicants. So that's the real challenge that you would face. All right. That's why it gets a lot more competitive than this number that you see here. And you need to be, and this is the reason why, statistically, it's not easy to get in. Those who do get in um, they have a lot of effort that they've put in, but it also depends on that particular day, how well you do on that particular day. Sometimes it's just not your day. All right. You may have prepared very well, but if it's not your day, it's not your day. All right. So you can't help that. But what you can do is you have two decisions. Number one, do I give up a year and try for the seat again? And number two is, do I settle down for a private school? So our recommendation is always uh, to go in for a private design school. It's very difficult to keep yourself focused and motivated. Excuse me, in a gap year. Um, so we do recommend that you continue in a different design school. If you don't get the school of your choice, you can always give an attempt the next year. Um, and the skill sets that you learn in your design school will help you for sure. It'll certainly help you. You can give it a shot. If it works in your favor, you can think about it. If not, just continue with your regular school. So that's our personal advice, uh, but the decision is yours. Next, when we go to, let me just keep a check on time. All right. Okay. Next, when we go to the next aspect of it. Now, I've covered a lot of this in the webinar on September. Pull that webinar up just so you see. Yeah, right. So this is the webinar I was talking about, and you can have a look at this. Click on this link, and I'm going to share it in the chat window. All right. I hope you got it in the chat window. Um, right. So now let me get back to my page, and yeah, so that's a link. Watch that webinar after this is done. A lot of this is covered. It's getting repeated, so I'm not going to spend too much time on these slides. I'd rather spend on something new, but understand uh, this aspect. Know what program you want. It's a very important aspect. It's very difficult to judge what program you want, but in general, you may say, I want design, I want fashion, I want architecture, but there's a lot of overlap between these things because, for example, you may consider a school like there's a lot of um, overlap between these fields and the professions and the careers that you may have. I often give this example that when you look at, say, you're interested in fashion design, right? Now, your fashion design, the shirt that you wear, currently will give you no information other than keeping you protected from the weather. Um, but let's consider shoes of the future. All right. So today you're designing shoes and your shoes look good and they're comfortable. But say 5 years down the line, you'll be designing shoes which will be telling you about your health, right? It'll tell you how many steps you've walked, how much of pressure you've put in. It'll track your performance or your health condition over time, and it'll warn you when you're not well or when the shoes think you're not well. So there could be so many things that your shoes could tell you in the future. All right. Now, is that really product design? Is that really fashion design? Is it accessory design? There will be an overlap between all of this. All right. So what happens is you need to keep yourself aware. You need to keep yourself of what's happening in fashion, what's happening in design, what's happening in architecture, in your built environment. All of this is very, very critical. So please uh, be aware of your surroundings and things around you. All right. And this is very important as a skill set for a designer. So make sure you are aware of what's happening around you. All right. Now, a lot of parents ask and students themselves ask, say, I really do not know what I want to do. I do not know if I want to do design or fashion, or whether I want to do communication design or accessory design or product. I may have very varied interests. Now, please understand, it is a tough decision. Parents, you cannot tell your child, you decide, and then you decide what you want and let me know. It does not work that way. Okay. And students, you cannot uh, leave this open ended. You need to think about it, you need to talk about it, you need to discuss it with your parents. You need to come to some kind of conclusion, if not a general one, at least try and eliminate the options that you are not very keen on. All right. Um, and the idea is to explore as much as possible. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to um, just um, so what I'm going to do is I'm just reaching out. Hold on. Okay, if I can um, open my, if you can see my this website dqlabs.in, come down here. All right, there's the Creative Careers booklet. Please click on this. This is very helpful. Click on this, go through um, this booklet is very important. And over here again, there are general categories of design programs which you can think of. Um, these are general categories. A lot of schools give a lot of variations on this, but at least read through this. So everything has, some images, some information. So read through this. It will help you make your decision. All right. Um, so I'm going to switch screens again. Okay. Right. So I'm seeing some questions. Which date was it? Selena Joshi, I've shared this with you. It was on September 7th. Nidhi Kohli is asking which design schools have UI and UX design. So I'm going to come down to that in another 5 to 10 minutes. All right. But let me come back to my presentation. All right. Okay, so that's very important that you understand this. Once you understand this, understand the entrance exam process, of course, for the NIDs and USEED. I'm assuming y'all are comfortable and y'all are very familiar with that. If not, go through our webinars. We have done webinars on NID, cracking NID, cracking USEED. So very important. Now, when it comes to your private design schools, the entrance processes vary. All right. Some schools have, um, they follow a system very similar to the NIDs, where you have, a round one aptitude test, a round two situation test, a portfolio review. These are the standard processes. Some schools have only a portfolio review. Some schools only have an interview. So depending on each private school, each one of these is looking for something else in a student, and you need to go through each school and find out their process and see what works for you. All right. Now, the importance of a design school. Now, this topic is what makes a design school a top one. All right. Why is it important that you get a good school? Now, I've covered this slide before, but I'd like to cover it again for those who have missed it. Um, all design schools are there to give you, they're there for different reasons. All right. But everyone is there to make designers out of you. All right. Now it is up to you to understand what you want to draw from a school. All right. Every school will give you a platform. What you need to draw from it, you need to see. And then from there, each school will sync up with different things. Somebody will say, I'm going to make it academically very, very well structured. Somebody will say, I will make it uh, the best school for industry interaction. Somebody will say, I'm going to make my school very important from a placement point of view. All right. So all of these are different perspectives, and they have different wants, and a lot of them will overlap. All right. But they will primarily they will focus on some aspects over the other, and that's the philosophy you need to look out for. But in general, all schools will give you these kind of skill sets, your observational skill sets, your problem solving, creative skill sets, all of these. Um, excuse me. And yeah, so there's going to be other, these are the general skill sets that would be required for you to be a good designer, including your marketing and sales skills, including your business skills, your finance skills. So all these are very important. All right. um, but what certain schools give you, okay, or rather what industry wants from you, all right, they need a sense of entrepreneurship, they need a sense of collaboration, they need your decision making skills, right? They need you to quickly adapt to changes during since March, right? Overnight things changed. How did companies adapt? How have companies, um, they're still surviving, right? And industries like schools have stagnated. A lot of y'all are in class 11 and 12. A lot of y'all would be struggling to see what is happening. My school hasn't started. These are the changes. That's because schools have not adapted yet. Many schools have not adapted, many schools have. So if you are in a school that has adapted, fantastic. All right. um, yeah. So now I'm going to go to the next. It's 5:23, so I'm going to go to the next topic of the important parameters when shortlisting a design school. All right. Now, I'm going to just pause on this, and I need you to ponder why you need to get into a good school. All right. Um, right. Just a second. Right. So, when we are looking at school options for you, all right. Uh, for example, I have personally visited about 50 to 60 different schools all across India. All right. Um, but not all of them I would, is in line with what we think is important for you. Now, everybody is a designer, right? Someone sitting in Printo is a designer, and someone sitting at Microsoft is a designer as well. Now, the difference between the two is the person sitting in Microsoft does a lot more research, a lot more analysis, a lot more background, all right? Um, a lot more study, and the work that they do is a lot more impactful, right? So that's the reason why we say that, at least from a TQ Labs perspective, um, we see that if you do get into a school, you should have the opportunities to get into, you know, R&D jobs, or or you should develop the abilities to, get into research and development and really go in depth. All right. So that's what we want from you. And um, and uh, what we've seen is that there are various parameters that you need to look at, uh, and some of them are listed here, and you can also create your own list, and you can put in your own parameters and see what is important to you, right? um, but what I have seen from my interactions with parents, from my interaction with students over a long period of time, I think one of the first parameters they say, okay, I need to get into. I'm okay with one part of India. I'm not okay with the other part of India. Or someone's mother says, I want my daughter to be here in the same city. Somebody's some other parent will say, I do not want my child to be in the same city. I want them to be independent. Right? That is a very personal choice of yours. But we do recommend that you'll keep all locations ready, that are open to all locations, and that's what we would recommend. But of course, that's a personal choice. You decide, sit with your parents, decide, and fix on something. All right. Once your locational parameters are fixed, okay, now being open to joining schools from various locations, it has its advantages, right? Because then you get to go out, you get to live on your own, you get to be independent. um, and you really get to integrate and mix with people from different cultures, right? So that also plays a huge part in your professional development and your personal development as well. The next thing we think is important is the fee structure, right? Because some schools, the fee structure is, starts from 60,000, 70,000 a year. It goes right up till, we've seen 8 lakhs, 9 lakhs a year. And really, this is important. All right. Sometimes you may want to get into a school, but for whatever reason, your parents may not think it is, it's within their budget. So you'll need to understand what the budget is, fix on that, and within that budget, work on the schools that y'all are looking for. All right. Um, the third thing that a lot of parents come to me and say, no, I worry about the degree, I want only a BDes degree. Some people say, I'm not very particular whether it's a BDes, I just want the education to be good. So that is very important. um, my personal take on it is, go for the school, right? Go for the school that gives you good quality education. The degree, diploma, it matters, but whichever school you go to, you need to be working on a portfolio. Your portfolio has to be outstanding. Just because you get into an NID or an IIT, don't sit back and relax. You still need to work on that portfolio, right? And if you don't get into an NID or IIT, um, that portfolio, what you create in your 4 years, speaks volumes about you. Any company will really be open to taking you out. So very important. uh, Again, degree, diploma, very personal decision. Some people are okay with it, many are not. I would possibly not give as much importance to the degree. um, but of course, you need to look at that in your context and see what works for you. I would put a lot of emphasis on who's heading the institute or the philosophy of an institute in general, right? Um, so I think this is a very important parameter. You need to understand who's heading the institute, because remember, the person who heads the institute stays there for a longer period of time. They have vision, they need to implement that vision, they need to talk about their own success stories, right? When it comes to department heads tend to focus on their departments, and when they get opportunities, they could possibly go from one school to the other. um, and faculty keep changing a lot, they're very fluid. All right. um, so a lot of times parents ask me, I heard the faculty is good in this school, so that's the reason why I'm considering that. So I say that faculty is very, very important, and it's very important that the school is able to attract good faculty and attract good talent. But there's more than just the faculty, and it's very important that you look at who's heading the school. All right. Your college brand gives you a network, a strong network, and gives you recognition. So the better school so any school you could choose, but make sure that um, the school is working on their brand as well. So that's important. Infrastructure that a school gives you is very important, but most of the schools have good infrastructure, so that's not so much of a challenge. But you need to ensure that they have good infrastructure, they need to have a creative environment, and they encourage you to go beyond um, what you do. All right. So yeah, and finally, placements is another thing which a lot of parents focus on. You could add a lot more um, parameters to this, or you could remove some parameters, what you think, and you can create your own list. Now, as far as placements go, it's very important. One thing is for sure, that our generation, my generation, and the last people who've been working for the last 20 years, 30 years, are very used to this concept of, you know um, go do your engineering, and you have Infosys and Wipro coming and taking 100 students, 200 students. So what is the placement? There's high placements here, it's 100% placements here, it's 150% placements. There's all these parameters that people talk about. Design, generally does not work that way. All right. Uh, Number one, a lot of students don't even sit for placements, right? Because they have something in their mind, they know what they want. Uh, the 4 years of design school is very grueling, all right? It will harden you, it'll toughen you, it'll make you a very strong personality. And sometimes, even if a Google or a Facebook comes, you will not sit for that, all right? We've seen this time and again. Um, and that's because of your personality, and design schools bring that personality out of you. So very important. um, Placements depends on a lot of parameters on whether you want to sit for that company, whether that company that comes there is giving you a job that you are really interested in, or are you just taking it just for the sake of getting a job, right? A lot of designers don't even take up jobs, they start freelancing during their school, and then by the time they're out of school they already have a good business going. Like I mentioned, entrepreneurial skill sets are very important, and that charisma is required. And if you have that, you'll probably do better doing your own thing. So again, placements gets a lot more complicated than just that. Look out for, if you're interested in, if you're specific on a BDES program, do make sure that the school is AICTE approved. There are complexities when it comes to um, design programs. So all NIDs, IITs would give you BDES or MDES. CEPT would give you a Bachelor of Interior Design as well. Um, there are private universities, government universities, which could give you a BSc or BWalk, things like that. Private universities also can, have the ability to give you various things. I've explained all of this in the other webinar, the September 7th webinar. So please look into that to understand this in a little more detail. Uh, the issue about the degree. All right. Now I'm going to go to the next um, aspect. I'm going to look at the questions that are coming in. Any idea whether, I'm going to take a few questions now. Any idea whether NID exam would be postponed and when the applications might be out? Vaishali, I think it's quite evident that the NID exam may be postponed. Um, Usually the applications would have been out by now, but it's not there. Tarun is asking which universities would you recommend for animation and VFX. I'll come down to that. Which would you, we would also like to know, number one, about student exchange programs, and two, opportunity in international schools. All right. Let me come down to the other slide I wanted to talk about. Um, Hold on. By the way, I hope all of y'all have applied to for USEED and SEED. I hope you all have applied because the application dates are over. So I do not want anyone. I hope no one has missed the boat. All right. Now, if you are looking at my screen, all right, you will see a list of schools. Hold on. All right. If you're looking at my screen. So now I'm going to talk about these schools because a lot of people want to know about schools. I'll come back to the questions in a little while. I'll spend about 10 minutes on these schools. All right. Now, if you come down to edge.dqlabs.in/colleges, all right. Um, all right. So if you come down to edge.dqlabs.in/colleges, I've put in the link in the chat box. You will see a whole list of schools here that we have put in. Now you can click on all schools or architecture schools or design schools or fashion schools. All right. or if you're interested in study abroad programs, you can, there are a few international schools put here as well. um, this is a good platform for you to look at. All right. Now, when it comes to, um, we're trying to merge these two because right now almost all schools are overlapping between design and fashion. So we'll probably merge these schools, and we are working on, constantly updating this. All right. Now, what I need you to do is, for example, these are some of the options that are available to you. Okay. So what you can do is you can see which schools are here. Like I mentioned, first look at the locations. Are you comfortable with this location? Um, which location are you comfortable with? Look at these locations here. This will probably help you eliminate. I see a lot of people asking, okay, which are schools in Bangalore? That means they're limiting their options to Bangalore, which is fine, absolutely fine. But that's important for you to consider. Then once you look at these schools, say that maybe you want to go to, um, let's just take for an example this school. So you come here, you read a little bit about the school, and you try and see what is interesting to you. All right. Now we've intentionally kept this here very basic. We've kept the information here very basic because, maybe if you want to explore further, you can always connect with the school, or you can, um, click on the school website and go there. All right. But you can also get some basic information what you need. All right. There's a 404 error. We'll correct these things. Um, so yeah, and you can also, what you can also do is, let me show you an example. Click on this, and you can click on inquire here. So the moment you click on inquire here, um, your name, email, and contact number will go to the school. All right. So let me click on yes. It will go to the school, and the school will get to know that you are interested in their school. All right. um, so that you can kind of, then maybe they will contact you, um, and you take it from there. You can get your information from there. All right. But otherwise, it's, there's a lot of options, and it's going to get complex for you to just randomly apply for everything. The application fees of all these schools, are in the range of, say, 1,000 rupees to 3,000, 3,500. It's very, very expensive for you to apply, but it's absolutely free to inquire. All right. So, my, advice would be to inquire with as many schools as possible, but apply to the ones that you would seriously consider. uh, from If you watch the past webinars, what all our students, all the toppers have suggested, they've consistently suggested, take as many entrance tests as possible, because all these entrance tests will happen before the NID exam, and this prepares you for the NID exam. All right. So very important that you uh, try and take as many as possible. Now, we will be updating this information from time to time, so you need to consistently come here and check on this. All right. Um, so once you keep checking on this, then we'll see what, then, you'll have many options here. A lot of the information here is outdated. It's all related to last year's admissions. As long as we get updated information, we put it in and we update this. All right. What we will do going forward is we'll just probably shoot out a SMS or an email saying that this school has opened applications, so look out for that. Um, right right. So now let me go down to the question and answers. I see a lot of question and answers. All right. um, let me do one thing. Okay, so now I'm having a look at the question answers. Okay, so please tell which schools have UI UX design. Coming down to Nidhi's answer. I'm starting off from Nidhi's question. Um, Nidhi, UI UX design is a specific program, all right, and it's very important that you probably also consider communication design as a whole, and then look at what comes under communication design. Look what comes under IT integrated design. All right. So UI UX is one of those things which go in between here and there. All right. Now, not all schools give UI UX as an option, but if you go through this, uh, I really want you to go through and explore all of these schools, understand the programs that they have, and then um, find out which schools give UI UX. All right. These things are dynamic. Off the top of my head, it's very difficult for me to recall. Um, but I would like you to go through that. All right. Vaishali, I've addressed your question. When will the applications be out for NIDs? Again, anybody's guess what happens this year, but um, it looks more likely that the exam is going to be postponed. All right. Both NIFT as well as NID looks like only USEED is on time. So Taruni is asking, which university would you recommend for animation and VFX? So Taruni, there are quite a few universities that have very good specific programs on animation and VFX. Um, what comes to mind is if I look at this UID, Pearl, probably ITM. Let me see what else. I think you really need to go through this. Strat has something on interaction design, a good uh, program on interaction design. So I think Ecole Intuit Labs has a good program. So there's, I mean, you need to really go into the details and of each of these schools and see what they have. All right. Anuj Ghosh is asking. Um, we would also like to know about number one, student exchange programs, and number two, opportunities for PG in international schools. All right, good questions. All right. So student exchange programs are of multiple types. By the way, if you all are liking this webinar, please click on the like button. It's a little encouraging for me. Also, those of you who have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please subscribe to it because you'll get notifications on future webinars. All right. Now, we would like to know about student exchange programs. So, Anuj Ghosh, uh, student exchange programs are interesting. You need to understand um, the nitty gritties of this. There could be multiple options. Number one, there could be study tours abroad, which is generally maybe a week to 10 days visit abroad. Number two, it could be um, just a basic exchange program. Couple of weeks you study there, you go there, you do a project there, do some workshops there, and then come back. All right. Then it could be for entire semesters. You could go there and study there. Now, what happens is if it's a semester exchange program, then what you need is the school to have a formal agreement with another school abroad. All right, because their curriculums need to match the the points or the GPAs have to match, the credits have to match. So all that, they need a good strong collaboration for that to happen. And that's why when it comes to these exchange programs, you really need to read the finer points, understand what schools are offering. Different schools offer different things. um, there are schools like probably ISDI and Pearl which say, okay, you can do 3 years here and do the fourth year abroad and get the degree from abroad. All right, so a lot of schools do that. So that is also a good option for you to consider. um, the second part of your question, Anuj, is what are the opportunities for for PG in international schools. So I'm assuming what you mean is if you do a bachelor's here, how possible is it for you to do a post graduation outside of India, right? Now, some schools require you to have a BDES program. Some schools do not require, and when I say schools, I mean international schools. Okay, they do not require you to have a BDES program. Um, and really, they don't specify I need a BDES program. They specify I need a 10 plus 2 plus 4. All right. So if you do a 3-year program, they may not be um, it may not entirely fit in their requirements, but a lot of schools what they do is they say, okay, you have 10 plus 2 plus 3, but so what you need to do, you need to do some more subjects, build up a few more credits, and that will add to your that will make your 10 plus 2 plus 3 equivalent to a 10 plus 2 plus 4. All right, so you just need to do a few more credits to get that equivalency, and that should work. All right, but either ways, our recommendation is to reach out to us. We will recommend a few study abroad consultants. You can talk to them, um, get an understanding. They are more specialized in this field. Get an understanding from them, and then that would add a lot more clarity. However, when you are looking to get into a post graduation program or even an undergraduation program abroad, the one key thing they look for is your portfolio. So you need to have an outstanding portfolio, right? Palak Sheth is asking, what do you feel about the reviews given by people on websites like Shiksha? Right. So I love this question. All right. Um, Now I'll get a lot of parents who say, no, this school is bad because I've seen very few Google reviews that are good. Many Google reviews are bad. Um, Reviews on shiksha.com are good, shiksha.com are bad. So these are influencing websites, really. Okay. Um, Now what happens is, think about who is giving this the feedback, right? So it could be given by a student. A student studying in the school can say, oh, maybe it's a good school or it's a bad school, or it could be a parent, it could be a teacher, it could be anybody, right? But someone associated with that school. Now think about it. If it's a student who says, oh, the school is bad, right? What is their frame of reference? Their frame of reference is only that school. So there are so many factors. I have spoken with students in the same batch, sitting in the same class. One student saying the school is fabulous, the other student saying the school is horrible, right? Now these are very subjective opinions, and it's more likely that the person who says the school is horrible is going to give that review on Google, right? More than someone saying good. For every 10 people who say the school is good, there'll be um, there'll be 100 people who say the school is bad or they're mediocre, right? So it's hard to judge. It's hard to use that as a strong opinion. I'm not saying don't consider that. Consider it. It's very important. All right. Don't look at it superficially. Don't say, oh, the reviews are bad, so I'm not going to consider the school. Um, for example, one of the schools that I went to. So every year, my students pass out of DQ labs. They get into design school, and I continue to be in touch with them. And I ask them, "How is your school? Can I recommend this school to the next batch of students?" All right, I always do that, and it's very important for me to be in touch with you, know which school you've joined, so that I can get that feedback and give it to the next batch. All right. Now, when I went to one of the schools, I'm not going to name it. Everyone is like, "Oh, the school's okay, whatever." But then I broke up my questions to them. Okay, I asked them things like, and this was a perfectly isolated environment. Nobody from that school, no representative from that school was in that room with me. I went there personally. I sat with my students and I asked them very candid questions. Questions like, um, how's your faculty, what is the opportunities they're giving you, what are the projects you're working on, How many opportunities you get. Are you happy with the projects you're getting? Are you happy with the faculty? Are you happy with your seniors? Are you happy with your juniors? Are you happy with the accommodation? Are you happy with your food? All right. Are you happy with the facilities that are given? I've asked all these personal questions in to the students, and all the answers they've given me is that the school is good. So sometimes if you just ask them, how do you like the school? They'll say, oh, it's okay, it's mediocre, it's not that great. But when you get into the details, ask multiple questions, then they themselves will say, oh, this is not bad, that is not bad. And you get a more realistic perception. All right. So I think that is important for you to think of. It's okay, but not everything. Now, next question from Anu. Uh, Anu Balaji Kumar. Why is AICTE important for BDES? Um, right. So, Anu, I'm going to go back to one of the slides. Hold on. Yeah, this slide. Now, this is a notification um, from the All India Council for Technical Education, which says that all BDES programs have to be approved by AICTE, right? Unless they get the approval, uh, unless they give the approval, nobody is going to, um, they're not going to take this. Or rather, only approved AICTE approved schools will get that, can give a BDES degree, right? So that's the importance. Hold on. Varsha Satish, which private schools in Bangalore do you recommend for fashion styling? Varsha, I think um, if I look at the fashion schools in Bangalore, there are a few schools that have fashion programs, and apart from NIFT, probably Pearl Academy, Lisa School of Fashion, um, then nothing else. Srishti has some fashion programs, not really fashion design, but somewhere in between. Um, so it's a little sketchy to say. Maybe there may be a few other schools which Bangalore School of Design has a program on fashion. So there are a few schools that are available, but I think from these you can consider any of these. I mean, again, like I mentioned, there are budgets involved, so you need to have a look at that as well. There's so many parameters. All right. Which institutes do you recommend in Bangalore with a BDES degree? Again, when it comes to BDES, there are few schools. There's Jain University, there's Presidency, there is Ramaya, um, there is PES, right? So these are the schools, some of the schools which have BDES programs. Yeah, so you can consider all of these. All right, I'm not going to be very specific on which ones. Um, but I think that the head of Jain University, the D school is is someone who's been with NID for a long time. So I think that is a good school to consider. How is VIT Chennai? Anu is asking how is VIT Chennai? VIT is Vellore Institute of Technology. I think it's very well known for the design technology programs. You're asking specifically about BF Tech, B Tech Fashion Technology, so that goes into apparel production and things like that. I think it should be a reasonable choice. All right. Srishti. Um, yeah, Tarun is saying Srishti also offers beaters. That's good. Anu, whether VIT offers placements, you need to probably check with them. Okay. Jain University, is it AICTE approved? Yes. All are AICTA approved. So Nidhi is asking, how do we know from DQH if the school provides an actual degree? So Nidhi, the information that you see on DQH is what we've got from the school directly. Um, so you need to just go through that, but also verify with the school directly, because information on DQH may or may not be updated. It's just general information. Pragya is asking, colleges for fashion communication other than NIFT and Pearl. Also, there's tons of school for fashion communication. Um, Really, Pragya, you need to go through that, and through that, uh, the schools listed there, and see which ones have fashion communications. It's too many for me to just take off the top of my head. Uh, yes, so G Sketch is saying WhatsApp and SMS reminders about application deadlines would be useful. For sure, we'll work towards that. Mitra is asking, is it possible that the NID exams will be clashing with the boards? Uh, Boards we expect it to be postponed significantly. It's unlikely. No one knows, Mitra, whether what the background to this, what's going to happen this year. It's a little sketchy. Um, Richa Kurian is asking, what is your personal opinion about Srishti School of Design, MIT, Symbiosis, Pearl, Anand, IIAD? All right. Richa, since you asked very specific questions, I think Srishti is a good school. In general, very good school. They're giving a BDES program. Um, I think they're one of the oldest schools, so I definitely think that their programs are good. You need to look into their programs. Their programs are very complex and very transdisciplinary in general, so you need to see what works for you. Some people are okay with that, some people are not okay, but you need to see what works for you. MIT is very good. MIT Pune is very good for their transportation design department, product design. Symbiosis is good as well. Pearl Academy, I think, is one of those schools. They've got funding from gus. Gus is Global University System, so um, they have, um, in my opinion, one of the best fashion programs in India. Um, but again, they do not give a BDES degree, but that's something that, like I mentioned, is up to each one of you. But I do think the platform that they give their students is brilliant. Um, Anant is one of those schools, again, newer school based in Ahmedabad. Um, it's been there for the last 4 years or so. I think their price point is very good. Their affordability is very good. I think their intentions are very good. I do recommend the school to a lot of students. I've visited Anand quite a few times. Um, my students there seem to be happy. IIAD, I think, is another brilliant school. So IIAD um, has a tie-up with Kingston University. I'm not sure if they still have the tie-up. I've not seen that recently, but it is a good school that I think you should consider. All right, they have good communication design programs, interior design. So I think it's a good school. All right. Um, so Nidhi is asking, some college provide degree, but BA in English or something similar. Example, ISDI, they do not have a BDES as such. Can we find more information on DQH? The school website does not clear specifically in detail. So, Nidhi, really the information on DQH is got from the school. So it'll probably be similar to what the school would give. But just to clarify, give you a little more clarity on this. Um, According to UGC, or University Grants Commission in India, when it comes to awarding degrees, they're very particular that degrees have to be, there's a certain process followed. Now, certain schools have the flexibility, especially private universities have the flexibility to decide on that curriculum and update that curriculum, and and probably make that, as a very international based curriculum. Um, so that flexibility is there for some of the private universities, um, or the autonomous schools. But many of the institute. So ISDI is an institute, Pearl is an institute, right? Shrishti used to be an institute, which has now been uh, taken over by Manipal. So now it's got the university behind them. All right. So as long as it's an institute, they have to make a tough decision. Okay. Do I tie up with a university and offer a BDES by that university? Or do I say no BDES and let me give you an updated curriculum, a globally recognized curriculum? All right. Now, institutes like you've mentioned, let's say ISDI, and let me put Pearl here as well, they have consciously taken the decision. Now, a lot of schools say, okay, let me tie up with the university. All right. So they tie up with the university, maybe like how Shrishti has tied up with Manipal, or certain schools tie up with Bangalore University, or, some universities. Um, and they say, okay, this university is offering a BDES, so let me tie up with them and follow their rules. The challenge with that for the institute is that Bangalore University may not update their curriculum very often. All right, they may be inflexible on that. So what happens is, effectively the school is meeting those requirements just to give you a BDES degree, and then they also give you an updated curriculum, um, which is more international as well. Now, what happens is that could be a little more stressful on you, all right, or it could work to your advantage or disadvantage. That's something you need to decide. But this is how schools circumvent the issue of degrees so that they can award you a degree. All right. Private universities can easily give you a degree, no holds barred. Okay. Um, but a school like ISDI or IIAD or maybe Pearl, what happens with them is they have consciously taken decisions that I will not tie up with the local university to offer a BDES, but the local university offers maybe a good curriculum in a BA. So I will tie up with them for that BA, and that BA will, complement you in terms of your understanding of psychology. You'll get a degree. You want a degree, you'll get a degree. All right. And that's probably a good degree being offered by that university. So we'll give you a good degree by that university. It's up to you to finish that course off. But as far as design is concerned, we believe that our design program is the best. We believe that our design program will give you international opportunities, and hence we are focusing on that. All right. So I hope I'm being clear. I hope I'm being clear, but that's the way these schools think. So my opinion is that should be fine. It works even if you're going abroad. It works. Um, like I mentioned, check with with a consultant before you make these decisions, and a study abroad consultant. We could help you with that as well. Um, but get that opinion and then make your decision. All right. Prachi Jain, can you suggest good interior design schools in Bangalore that give a BDES degree? So, Prachi, I think um, I've mentioned a few schools earlier. You just need to look at those schools and see if they give um, a BDES program, interior design program. Varsha Satish, will the student get guidance from DQ Labs to prepare portfolio? If so, when to start? Is it required before joining BDES or government colleges? So, Varsha, we have done a webinar on your portfolio preparation. Now, if you are looking at design schools in India, the requirement for a portfolio may not be as complex. Okay, as a school abroad, the weightage that they give for your portfolio, uh, that is very important, right? So it depends. If you are looking at colleges abroad, then we recommend that you start your portfolio preparation immediately. All right. If you're looking for a college in India, your portfolio, whatever you're working on already, should be sufficient. You can just compile that and put that in your portfolio, and it should work. For colleges in India, what you need to do right now is focus on your material handling, because that takes time and that takes a lot of effort to to learn the skills, hand skills. All right. So yes, we do help you prepare with your portfolio as well. Please connect with our counselors. Our counselors will be able to help you. All right. Palak, you're right. Pearl does not give a BDES. All right. So I'm getting questions. Okay, Marlene is asking from the list of school, colleges. Can I assume that any college offering communication or UIX design is good? Yes. So Marlene is asking, are these colleges good? With reasonable confidence, we can say that the schools that we have listed on DQ Edge are good schools. All right. Um, most of these schools I have visited myself personally. Um, some of the schools I've not visited, but I've put them here anyway, because I think that they're good schools. But most of the schools I've visited and they are very, very good. You can consider these as good schools. Um, we have gone past our time, so I'm just going to skip a few questions. BDES versus Sanjana Anjan, BDES versus visual communication. Some colleges for BDES and visual communication. Okay. Some colleges for you want suggestions of colleges for BDES visual communication. I think almost all colleges do that. What's your advice to be saved from fraudulent school admission offers? Do we have a list of AICTE approved design schools? Can you please give information around deemed universities? Okay, so G Sketch, good question. Um, I'm not sure what you mean by fraudulent school offers, admission offers. All right. So almost all schools will start their admission process, right away, if not started already, and they would want to secure their seats before you get your NID seat, all right, or your IIT seat. So the idea of all schools, of course, they're looking for good talent, number one, but they're also looking to fill up their seats, all right. It's no secret, and they would want you to join, and the earlier you join, the better it is for them. um, and also from your perspective, if you do get selected into a school, focus on that. You have this at the back of your mind, and then you can also focus on your NIDs, and you know that your backup plan is secured. The problem is you need to do your research for your backup plan, all right, and apply to maybe a few schools, um, and know which school you're joining. Don't randomly apply to all 20 schools, 30 schools. That does not help anyone, all right. Apply to maybe five, six, seven, or eight, maximum eight private design schools within your budget, within your parameters, and give all of them a good thought, and that should be sufficient. Now, when you're applying to eight schools, then you need to cross check for those eight schools. Okay, these are the eight schools I'm really interested in. Cross check the information with the school. I don't think any of these schools will give you the fraudulent information. If you click, if you apply, click on that inquire now button on DQ Edge, you will reach the right person in that university. If for example, for any reason you do not reach the right person, please message me, and we will make sure that that if you don't get a response, reach out to us. We will kind of verify that information whether the right person is there or not. All right. Um, All right. So, G-Sketch, about deemed universities, please look at my previous webinar. That should give you an idea. Manli is asking, how is MIT and WPU? I think both are good. MIT ADT and MIT WPU are sister concerns. MIT ID, MIT ADT, and MIT WPU, and Avantika University, they're all from the same group, offshoots of the same group. Um, I think they're pretty good. I would prefer personally, that you do your research on all these, and it should be good. All right. VIT needs science in 12th. Right, Nidhi, not all schools require science. Very few schools require a science background. Um, but you can look into that. But if you don't have a science background, don't worry about it. There's so many other options for you. Don't worry. Rajni T is saying we would like to get more details about Strat. Rajni, what you can do is go on to DQH, click on the Strat button, and Strat will contact you. All right. If they don't, message me, and we will see. Palak, MIT for communication design is good. I think they're strongest for their transportation design, but even the communication design is good. Which design school has the best industrial connect for jobs? So, Pragya, as far as industrial design, as far as this industry connect goes, all schools recognize the importance of industry connect. All schools are doing their best to get as much industry connect as possible. Um, Personally, I've seen UID, I've seen ISDI, I've seen Pearl. All of these are very, very aggressive. Jain University, very aggressive when it comes to Industry Connect. And I've missed out a lot of names. I should not be singling out names, but all these are good. Um, Palak Sheth, how is Voxen? So, Palak, I think that can be considered. Do go through the listing on DQH, see if it works for you, and then consider that. Um, but yeah, Akshay is asking about Chitrakala Parishad in Bangalore has started a design school, a design program. So, or rather, has CKP started a design program? So, Akshay, they were supposed to start. I'm not sure if they have started already, but I would wait for a few more batches to go through before giving my comment on CKP for design. But if it's for fine art, I would 100% say go for that. It's a brilliant program. Selina Joshi is asking, does MIT Pune give a BDes degree? Answers yes. Um, okay, G Sketch is asking, any plans for launching a DQ Design University in future? Um, so we've been asked about it many times. Quite a few people have approached us. I think our intention is to help a lot more students. Um, we want to touch a lot more lives. So never know the opportunity. If it exists, we may come up with something. CIT. Okay, Ansuman is asking about CIT Kokrajkar. Um, Kokrajar. I'm not very sure of this particular institute. I know I'm aware of its existence. Um, I, in fact, did a study on this for one of our parents, um, you know, but I really do not know the intricacies of this school, so it would be hard for me to comment. All right. Um, yeah. Are there any international certification exams available for design fields like GRE or GMAT? No, the answer is no, GSketch. There is no such exam at an international level. That's why they look specifically for your portfolio. Pragya is asking, does Srishti give a BDes? Answer is yes. Um, okay. So what about Manipal? Any particular reason why it's not such a great place? So Nidhi, Ma- the Manipal group is a brilliant group when it comes to educational institutes. Um, I think that their Manipal campus is good for all of their programs. Uh, but the Manipal group as such, or Mahe, has right now tied up with Srishti. I think the Srishti campus is good. I would highly recommend the Srishti campus, Srishti Manipal campus. So I would consider I would ask you to consider that. Is ITM IDM? Okay, so Nidhi is asking about ITM IDM. So I think that ITM is a brilliant school when it comes to their communication design, visual effects, animation. All right, they have a very interesting product program on their VFX. I think it's a brilliant uh, one to. So that particular program is in association with a studio called I forget the name, Prime Focus Academy. All right, and Prime Focus actually works on a lot of Bollywood and Hollywood movies. They've done tremendous amount of animation with with respect to that. You have faculty from there who are running the program at ITM, and I think anyone considering VFX animation should consider ITM. But apart from ITM, there's of course other schools as well, like ISDI and Pearl, and a lot of other schools are there. Okay. Arya Kulkarni is asking, how is UID for communication design? So Arya, I think UID is something, pretty much all their programs are excellent. Um, they've come up with very innovative options. You can do a 4-year BDES in India, complete program in India. You can do a BDES, a Bachelor Global program, where you do 5 semesters here, 3 semesters abroad at 3 different universities. It works out a little expensive, but it's something for you to consider. I think they have another program which is an integrated master's program, which is good. Um, I think the college is aggressive. I think that it they have only one entrance exam. Miss that, you've lost your chance. All right. So I would recommend that everybody um, tries for that. Dia Hegde, how much approximately out of 150 in GAT would be good to get into NIFT? Um, Dia, I can't recall off the top of my head. Um, Probably you can reconfirm with the faculty when you take the classes at DK Labs. All right. What's the main difference? Saraja Puranik is asking, what's the main difference between international and Indian design schools? All right. Um, International and Indian design schools. I really think it's the context that's different. All right. So, in an Indian environment, you think, I mean, we see people, we see people, interact with people of various backgrounds. I mean, India is a country of 1.3 billion people, right? The scales that we are talking about cannot be imagined uh, by designers abroad. However, say like if you look at companies like Google, Facebook, and all that, right? For them, design is their main differentiator, and what they have done there in their context has spread global, right? Now, I really think that the influences that all schools are giving you is they're trying to give you a very globalized perspective. The Indian schools have localized that as well. Um, but yeah, but it's very hard to say what you get at different schools. I think the overall experiences, the influences, the diversity of your batchmates, um, the reputation of your faculty or the heads or the design school heads or the school in general, the opportunities that create, these all would vary tremendously. All right. So it's a tough decision to decide whether you want to go abroad or stay in India. I think, a lot of parents prefer to do their bachelor's in India, masters abroad. These are very, very personal decisions. They change for everybody. So yeah, but there are a lot of parameters that would be different. All right. Nidhi Kohli is asking for feedback on ITM for fashion design specifically, right? So fashion design. Okay, so I have gone to ITM. I've visited the campus. I think the campus is good. I think the campus, you know, it's centrally located in Mumbai. Um, Mumbai has a very strong influence in terms of fashion. Um, the school is aggressive. I think it's it's very hard to say departments in one school, or whether it's good or the other. Um, but yeah, but I would say that you can definitely consider ITM for fashion as well. All right. Um, Anu Balaji, when is the UID entrance exam? So Anu, UID generally is on the 26th of January. That's when they have it usually. Mitra is asking, how is DJ Academy? That's in Coimbatore. Um, I visited DJ Academy. I think it's uh, they have not been extremely aggressive. Uh, it's a good school, nice campus, a little away for about a half an hour drive from Coimbatore city. Um, I think it's one of those schools that you can consider for sure. But as far as the diversity occurs, um, I'm not sure if it's definitely a college that if you're considering to be in South India, then definitely I think DJ Academy is a strong consideration, strong contender. Um, but I really have not been there the last 2 years, so I'm not sure how they've changed. All right, where would you rank it in comparison to UID, Srishti, MIT? Oh, so Mitra, I'm not going to be ranking any of the colleges here. Um, so that's going to be a challenge. Okay. So you see how I've given you the parameters to rank, and you can take that. How is UPS for communication design? UPS is again another school that uh, has been taken over by GUS, or Global University Systems. um, Good school. I think they're very, very well known for their product design, transportation design department. Um, so we've done webinars with them. You can go onto the DQ Labs YouTube channel. You can see the webinar with them. I think um, it's interesting. It's an interesting option to consider. All right. Palak is asking again, what is BDES honors? Um, Generally, when you talk about honors, you talk about doing a few extra additional subjects, to specialize in your area of interest. So that's what the honors um, means. But really, um, I think you would need to reconfirm. Each college may interpret this differently, so you need to speak with each college and get it from them. All right, get the clarity from them. Anyway, so this webinar was supposed to end at 6:25. Um, Sorry, at 6 o'clock. It's 6:25 now. I've tried to answer as many questions as possible. Um, Thank you so much for attending. All right. Um, Thank you so much for attending. If you did like this webinar, please click on the like button and subscribe to our channel. That will be very encouraging for us. Uh, Palak is saying, let me take this last question from Palak, who's saying some people said that UID placements are bad. These comments you will get for every school. Some schools, they will say these placements are good. Some places, where is the guarantee that a school that's saying that the placements are good, um, that they're giving you good jobs, right? So when you say placements are bad, it means maybe not 100%. Okay, that could be due to the volume of students they have, but maybe there are schools which give you 100% placement, but what is really the quality of those placements, right? So there are so many complexities when it comes to these questions like placements, where you really need to dig deeper. Do not go surface level, dig much deeper. All right. um, Placements, like I mentioned earlier, is not like an engineering college where Infosys will come and hire 50, 100, 200 people. Here, Infosys will come, they will hire 5, 10, maybe 20 max. All right. But those 20 have to be really good. Okay. So, Rajni T, Symbiosis Pune for communication design, good. Okay. I've seen that. Um, I've gone there, I've seen it, I've seen what they do. I think it was good. Um, I liked the the campus. Campus is not outstanding as you would find in other college campuses. As in, it's the last time, at least the last time which I went to a Symbiosis was maybe 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. Um, I went there, I visited the college. At that point of time, it was not an independent campus. It was, a couple of floors in, their regular school. But the work that they were doing is good. I interacted with the faculty, specifically the UI UX design faculty. I thought they were good. Um, so I do think that you can consider Symbiosis as well. All right, right. Thank you so much. I need uh, to go and spend some time with family, and you guys spend time with your family as well. All the best to you all. Do feel free to reach out. You can, after this is over, you can put in your comments. I will look into the comments. I will respond to comments um, on this webinar. Um, and please share this with your friends. All right, share this. Make sure that as many people have a look at this, and hope that you found this session useful. And yeah, all the best to you guys. All right. Um, one more thing I need to mention here is very unfortunate what the world is going through, but you guys, this 2021 batch especially, all right, for you it's a lot more pressure, it's a lot more um, uncertainty, all right. um, but I really, wish that things were different. I wish we saw the light at the end of the tunnel. um, but it's tough on you guys, all right. So at this moment, understand that you'll need to deal with with a lot of uncertainty, with a lot of question marks, um, and lack of clarity, all right. So number one, please keep your spirits up, all right. Be positive, keep your spirits up, and uh, you know talk to people, be positive, pass on that positivity, all right. Number one. Number two, right now you have a huge luxury of time. This luxury of time you will not get again. Nobody in our generation has had this much of luxury, all right. You are lucky. Take this time to do as much research as possible on all the schools possible, and make an informed decision, all right. So all the best to you. Do well, stay safe, and God bless.